Well, welcome to today's webinar. We're broadcasting from Copenhagen. This is the second week or second broadcast from Copenhagen, I believe. So I just remember next Tuesday, the 22nd, I'm traveling to Stockholm. So if you girls are cool with it, we can do our next broadcast on Monday, the 21st.
Okay.
Because I'm traveling on 22nd. I don't know what time I get to Stockholm. I got to move into my place, and then I don't know what the situation is. I'm sure there's internet, but if I can do it on Monday, it's better. That's one. It works better for me. If that's okay with you girls.
Okay.
Suits me perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. So Monday at 7, 21st.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, tusen tack.
Varsågod.
So is there anything anybody would like to share from last week to this week, and any realizations where we're talking about judgment, right? Is that what we were talking about, judgment?
Yeah.
And then what did we talk after that? The conversation went to something else. Do you remember? Anyone? No? Nobody remembers? Well, then I don't remember either, so then I guess then it doesn't matter.
Well, we were talking about the Dalai Lama and how you can't really know someone unless you know them and are with them. That was
right. Oh, who's enlightened, who's not?
Yeah.
Is he?
Well, huh?
Is he enlightenment? Dalai Lama?
Is he enlightened?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna have to ask him. I have no idea. No, we were talking about that. I mean, I don't have a radar or a special device that I can tell that someone's enlightened or they're not enlightened. It's just, it feels like a spiritual teacher has some qualities of freedom, and there's this intelligence around them. And it seems and it feels like they're free, and they emanate peace and love, and so that's how I look at it, but I don't really know. Yeah, you have a know of finding out who's enlightened, Shishi?
I do feel the same way. No, it's hard to know, but I do when it feels good around someone and they feel happy and peaceful.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Unruffleable by life circumstances.
Yeah. Exactly. And that is, only way you're going to find that out is if you're really around them. And you see them in action. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's hard to tell from distance. So, I mean, that's my interpretation. So without really projecting anything and imagining anything, I mean, everybody says Ramana Maharshi is enlightened. I mean, I don't know if you ever watched Ramana. I'm sorry, I go back and forth. I got this thingy You seen this? It's not a disco ball. It's I just put it in my back. It massages that part of my back that has problem. So I just press it against that area. So that's why I go back and forth. I'm playing with it to find a comfortable position with it. So, because when I see it for too long, it starts to bother me. So you have to do what you have to do.
I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it feels very good.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, Ramana Maharshi, that I consider him as my spiritual grandfather. And ever since I've seen a photo of him and I saw his eyes, I recognize myself in him. And I'm in love with him. I'm in love with him, with Ramana Maharshi. And we can just put his name in. Let's see, we can type a name to share with everyone here. No?
Okay. I'll find a good one.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Ramana Maharshi. He's the saint. There's many Maharshis. I'm not talking about other Maharshis. I'm talking about Ramana. And he was like known as the saint of southern India. And his ashram is under this mountain of Arunachala, which is red mountain.
So do you want to see a little bit of it or no?
Is everyone seeing it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Who by the severest austerities and profound contemplation has attained spiritual
Can you hear it too or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
comfort from his near presence. For he neither preaches nor blames, setting at ease all who come to him by the essential goodness he radiates to all around. A good man in a troubled world. He adhered to a punctual routine, which included going out for a stroll twice a day. At these times, he would walk up on the slopes of his beloved Arunachala hill, and if any attachment to anything could be said of him, it was surely an attachment to the hill. He loved it and said it was God himself, the spiritual heart or center of the earth. He seemed to never be so happy as when wandering around its slopes, and once remarked that there was not one spot on the hill where he had not set his foot. He also encouraged devotees to walk around the 8-mile circumference of the hill, as it has been well known from ancient times to be a very potent spiritual exercise. Generally, the Maharshi appeared to be indifferent, a witness to what was going on around him. Nevertheless, he was always aware of what was happening and seemed to be very particular about others.
That's Yogananda next to him right now.
He should be accessible to devotees and visitors at all times, even on the day of his death when he had no strength to even hold his head erect. He asserted that devotees should not be prevented from seeing him. He was also very keen that visitors should be fed immediately upon their arrival, and food should be well cooked and nutritious. He participated and supervised meal preparations for many years. The Maharshi was adamant that no preferences should be given to him in way of food or conveniences. If it is good for me, it must be good for all, he would say when some special food preparation or medicine was offered him. He would then make the attendants distribute the item to everyone present before he would take it himself. In his company, one would notice a total absence of distinction between men and women of different castes and creeds, of different races and religions, between a prince and a peasant, an ascetic and a householder. His equality extended far beyond human beings and embraced even plants and animals. His love for and affinity with
Like keep going, or you go. Okay.
animals can be compared only to that wonderful child of Christ, St. Francis of Assisi. They all came to him: dogs, snakes, monkeys, crows, deer, peacocks, chipmunks, and cows, to name a few. Their silent language was known to him, and when he spoke, they understood and obeyed. He arbitrated the monkeys' quarrels. He has been known to speak to the wild leopards and cobras, and the whole animal kingdom accepted him as their guardian and defender. All felt his grace and acted with intelligence in his presence. He considered every living creature as equal, and those who came to him deserved an equal share to the land and resources of Ramanashramam. He often mentioned that this was their territory all along. We humans have just come and occupied it. If they could speak, they would claim their rights as well. Besides this, he maintained that every creature, from man down to the smallest insect, was an equal manifestation of the Supreme Self, the imperishable One. And even an animal can progress spiritually and on rare occasions attain liberation. This was demonstrated in the life of the cow Lakshmi. For over 20 years, she lived in the ashram and exhibited a rare devotion to Bhagavan, intelligence in all matters. Bhagavan fully reciprocated her gentle devotion, and on her last day, when her end was near, in perfect reality. He often said that the true teaching was in silence. But this does not mean verbal expositions also were not given. And although he authorized many different methods of spiritual practice, he, however, laid the greatest emphasis on the path of self-inquiry. The first and foremost of all thoughts that arise in the mind is the primal I thought. It is only after the rise or origin of the I thought that innumerable other thoughts arise. Search by means of a deeply introverted mind wherefrom this I arises. If we go inward questing for the source of the I topples down, and immediately another entity will reveal itself, proclaiming I. Even though it also emerges saying I, it does not connote the ego, but the one perfect existence. People of all religions came to him, and he never advised any of them to change their faith or abandon their creeds. Answered all our questions patiently.
So, Ramana Maharshi, my teacher Papaji, Punjaji, was in search of an enlightened master since he was like 5-6 years old.
Sorry.
Know what being means, right?
It's a dream world.
Sorry, guys.
No problem.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Stop. Okay, sorry. There we go.
Yeah. So, Papaji was in search of a living saint. That's my teacher. And from childhood, and he was really looking and actively seeking. And he used to have Krishna, Radha, Shiva, a few of these Indian deities. You know about Krishna, Shiva. Does everybody know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to appear to Papaji at nighttime when he would go to sleep at night. They would appear in his room, and he was like, Papaji was like 13, 14 years old or something, and these deities would show up to him, and they would play with him. They were playing, laughing, having fun. Then Papaji's mother would walk into the room at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night, and see like, she would hear laughter. And would open the door and walk in, and then you would see Papaji is dressed up in the deity's clothing. And of course she couldn't see the deities. And you know, she was asking him, what are you doing? And he would say, you know, Krishna was here, Radha was here, I was playing with them. And of course the mother wouldn't believe it. Anyway, he had many different spiritual experiences and different entities and beings appearing to him and all this stuff. But so he had this very deep love of God and very strong desire for awakening. And then anyway, he marries, like all the Indian men around his age had to get married and have children and all these things and get a job. But he's still seeking. Even though he's married, he's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got a job, but he's following an ordinary life. He still has to go make money and work and everything. But he has a very deep desire for freedom. He's looking for God. He's looking for peace. He's looking for the answer. And he's seeking. Anyway, there's a long story. There's 3 books about him. And the title to the book is Nothing Ever Happened. But there's 3 volumes of it, of Nothing Ever Happened, which I recommend you get a chance to order it, Google it, and get it. We'll write it down later on the Academy or on the Academy website, I mean a Facebook page, Academy's page, or I can just email it to you.
Yeah, I can do that, no problem.
Yeah, Nothing Ever Happened. And somebody interviewed Papaji and wrote 3 books. But he's explaining his process of search for awakening. And so years go by, and Papaji by now is around 32 or 31, 32, 33, I'm not sure, and he's frustrated from not finding a living master. He's gone to a lot of different known teachers, but none of them is for him. And anyway, one day, and at this point, Papaji is in northern India. And one day, there's this sadhu. You heard of sadhu? The word sadhu? If anybody's heard, just raise your hand. Okay. Sadhu, you've seen these Indians wearing these orange clothes, and they have a spear or they have a wand in their hand. A lot of times they have like colorful stuff on their faces, you know. Have you seen these Indian babas? Baba, yeah. Sadhu, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Okay. They're considered of their sannyasins. The word sannyasin is a renunciate, one who has renounced the world. So a traditional Indian sannyasin is not supposed to own more than he can carry. All his possessions must be as much as he can carry with him. He should not stay anywhere more than 3 days. They wear orange. Basically, they have to be in this state of trust. So they beg for food and everything. But, you know, a traditional Indian sannyasin, wherever they go, people take care of them. They give them things. They give him food, they give him some money. So, real traditional sannyasin. So one day, one of these traditional sannyasins, which kind of is like a beggar, but dressed up in a orange sadhu, you know, they may not look very cleanly, whatever, knocks the door at Papaji's house. And Papaji goes and opens up the door. And the guy is asking for food, and Papaji gives him, gets him some rice and some dal and give him some food. And Papaji asks him, do you know of an enlightened master? Do you know, I'm looking for an enlightened master. Do you know of any? And the sannyasin guy, the sadhu, tells him, yes, I know there is a saint, an awakened master in southern India. And his name is Ramana Maharishi. And is in the town of, his ashram is under the mountain of Arunachala in Tiruvannamalai. I've been there, I've gone there. This is like in 1940, around that time. Anyway, so Papaji gets as much information as he can from this guy, gives him some food, some money. And like a week after that, he packs up his things, leaves his family, and he's like, I have to go down there to find this guy. And his dad is very upset with him. Like, what are you doing? You have a wife, you have children, you have worldly responsibilities, and you're leaving your family and you're going down, you know, after some wild goose chase of some enlightened guy that you don't even know. I mean, this is like I'm talking about in 40s, you know? Traveling from northern to southern India would probably take a week by their train. It's not like you have internet, you're going to Google Ramana Maharishi and find out who he is or where he is, or you're going to pick up the phone and call somebody and find this out. You know, that's a big journey to go from north to the south and to go search for somebody. It's not very easy. But Papaji had this very deep calling inside him, very strong, that he has to find a living master. He has to find one who has discovered the truth, someone who's living in this place. Because it felt like everybody else he came across, they're not there. So anyway, he goes on this long journey, and he finally gets to Ramana Maharishi's ashram, and he goes to the ashram. You know, he asks someone, is the master there? They say, yeah, the master there is sitting at his bed, his throne. He's there just... So he walks in there, and he sees like there's hundreds of devotees are sitting with Ramana Maharishi. Ramana Maharishi basically transmitted the truth to his people, mostly through silence. He wasn't very much into talking. He talked, and he had very strong penetrating eyes. Many, many people got enlightened from Ramana looking into their eyes. So anyway, Ramana is sitting up where he's sitting, and he's just sitting there in silence, or is just looking at people. When later on you go online and type his name and look at some of images, because it was hard to tell from that video, then you're going to really see his face and his eyes. So anyway, Papaji walks in there, he comes in the ashram, he looks up and he sees, well, this is the same guy who came to my house a week ago, And he gets very upset. He gets very angry. And he turns around and walks out.
Huh.
And the devotee goes after him and he says, hey, sir, why are you leaving? And Papaji says, well, this guy is a charlatan. Because a week ago he came to my house and was begging for money and food. And I asked him, I'm looking for an enlightened master. And he told me to come down here. But now that I come down here, I see the same beggar. So he lied to me. Because that's not a master, that guy is a beggar. And then the devotee tells him, sir, just calm down, calm down. That's Ramana Maharishi. He has not left his ashram for past 30 years.
Wow.
He hasn't left this place for past 30 years. He's been here in his ashram for 30 years. He hasn't gone anywhere outside of this city, this town that he lives in. And that blows away Papaji at that time. So many times, great saints, avatars, awakened beings, they appear to their disciples in different places. So when they appear, they may appear to you and they look very real, and they are real in that moment. But they have not left their home. They're still where they used to be. An image of them appears to someone. And it's ironic because after I found out about Papaji, and after I went to see Papaji and I sat with him, few years after, this was in India. Then I go back to the US and I was with Papa from 94, 95, no, 92, 93, 94. I was able to be with him, not the whole time, but in those years. Then I left in 94, 95, I went back to the US. And I didn't go back to India, and Papaji died in 97. So I really wanted to go back, but I couldn't go back. I didn't have the means to go back. But around 96, 97, I came across another Advaita Vedanta master. Papaji, Ramana Maharishi, they're Advaita Vedanta masters. They teach Advaita Vedanta. That's the name of this school of spirituality, Advaita Vedanta. I'll have it written for you later. Well, then in 96, I was led to this other Advaita Vedanta enlightened master named Robert Adams. And that was in Los Angeles. I was living in San Diego. He was in Los Angeles. A friend of mine told me that there is an Advaita master who comes from the same lineage of Ramana Maharishi, and I went to see him. And then I found out that Robert, in 40s, one day he was a spiritual guy. He was also seeking, but he was an American guy living in America. And he's in a bookstore, he's in a library, and he's looking for some spiritual books because he's a seeker. And before this episode of the library, Robert used to have a man this tall, a person this tall, an image this tall would appear to Robert. This tall, you know? And he would appear to Robert and would give Robert transmission. Anyway, this would happen to Robert for a few years. Then, but he didn't know who this guy was. One day, he's in a library in Los Angeles, and he's looking for some books, and his shoulder hits a book in the shelves, and that book falls down. Falls down, opens up, the book opens up, and there is a picture of Ramana Maharshi. And Ramana Maharshi was this little man who appeared to Robert. Used to appear to him. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And then he's blown away. So he picks up the book, reads his name, and find out, takes his information, and then Robert goes to India to see Ramana Maharshi. So both Papaji separately goes to see Ramana Maharshi, and Robert goes to see Ramana Maharshi. They never met each other because they get to see Ramana Maharshi in two different timelines. But both of them awakened from Ramana Maharshi. When they were with Ramana, both of them awakened. And one of the first encounters that Papaji had with Ramana Maharshi, who later on Papaji realizes that Ramana Maharshi is his Sat Guru. Guru, you know? Guru? Sat Guru is the one for him. That's the master. Was that one of the first encounters they had? Papaji goes to Ramana, and they're sitting or they're talking, and he respects the master, but he had a little arrogance in him. There was a little bit element of arrogance because Papaji used to have Radha, Krishna, and some of these Indian deities appear to him, and they're playing with each other, right? So he's a little bit proud of himself that he has these saints coming to him. And they're just talking, and Ramana Maharshi says, "Okay, what have you been doing? What do you do?" And Papaji very proudly says, "Yeah, I do my pujas every morning for hours, and I recite the name of the gods 300 times a day. And Ramana says, "Oh, very good. You get up early morning and you do your prayers, you do your meditation. Good for you. And then you're doing these repeating mantra 300,000 times in one day. Wow, very impressed. Da, 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 da. What else?" And then Papaji says, "Well, I have Radha and Krishna come to me and they play with me." And Ramana Maharshi says, "Very well, very good. Let me ask you something. Where are they right now?" And Papaji says, "Well, they're not here." He says, "Well, when do you see them?" He says, "They come and go. They're not here all the time." And then Ramana Maharshi looks into his eyes with those penetrating eyes, and it says, "Anything that comes and goes, it's not real. Look for that which is always here, because that is the only real thing. Anything else that comes and goes, it's not real." And that statement blows Papaji away. And it just turned something internally in him. It just put him into a spin. And then, of course, after that, Papaji becomes awakened and he wakes up and he realizes the self. He goes to his awakening process and he realizes the self, himself, the self. That which is always here. That which doesn't come and go. Slowly, slowly. Slowly, slowly. Come back. You know the story, you know about Rumi? Anybody knows about Rumi?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know. Before I go into that story, yeah, if you get a chance, search Ramana Maharishi or Papaji Punjaji. And you get a chance, listen to some of Punjaji's satsangs, some of his talks. You may, you know, or just read a little bit about Advaita Vedanta. It helps. It helps you a lot to understand that the major part of the work we do is to go into this quiet place. You're going into this place which is witnessing. The witness. It doesn't care about what is witnessing. Is the attention on the witness. Or the witnesser. And the more your attention goes towards it, the more you begin to see all of this stuff is turning around you, the world, you know, it's revolving, all these events are happening. The new US presidential blah, blah, blah. Different, you know, I met with a friend today. She was saying she's going to this political group. And there, you know, all these stories about Donald Trump becoming the president, all these stories about the destruction of the planet, all these stories about evil corporations, Wall Street, you know, a lot of the stories that a lot of people are involved in right now. You know what I'm talking about? Yes? Yeah. A lot of people on the planet are very much involved right now with the world events. But the master, it goes into silence and does not care about what is going on in the world of appearance. This world that looks like all these things happening in it, you know, it's revolving, it's happening in front of you, and it's very real. But when you go to this place, you go there, here, and you're in this place, and there's no thoughts. This way. There's no thoughts. Then this chaos and this craziness which is happening around you disappears. It's not there anymore. Or it becomes irrelevant. It's not touching you. The noise on the outside noise, all these concerns, all these political parties, all these rallies happening, people getting together and they're very talking about, we need to do this, we need to do that, and da 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 da. And you're just here in this place, very quiet, inside yourself, very peaceful, very happy, and unaffected. Oh, we're going to make the world a better place, or you're going to be more peaceful if we fix these things. My friend was telling me, if we can fix some of these things, you're even going to have more peace. I said, no, honey, I already have peace. I already discovered peace, and it's not out there in fixing anything. It's right here. It's like going barking under the wrong tree. It's not out there to fix anything. But we need to go out there and do some demonstration, and we need to voice our voice. Yeah, that's a very noble cause. But where is this coming from? You know? Is it coming from your inner anger? Is it coming from you've been abandoned in your childhood? You're angry? Your mom left you? Your dad left you? You got sexually abused? You're angry. And now you want to go put your anger on Donald Trump and demonstrate for peace. You know? We have to have peace. We're really angry, and people will raid on the street. They're throwing rocks at the windows of the banks. They're burning cars. They're smashing things. They're demonstrating because they want peace. Do you understand this?
Yeah.
They're angry because there's not peace. That's not That's their own anger, projecting it on a government, projecting it on a corporation. That's their inner demon that they haven't dealt with. You know? If you want peace, you can't demand peace from your government, from your city, from your community, if you haven't developed peace inside yourself. You're not peaceful inside. Now you're out there demanding for peace. You have to find it within yourself first. Now, I'm talking about realizing the peace within yourself and discovering it. That doesn't mean what a lot of Scandinavians do. Okay? No insult intended to you guys, but a lot of Scandinavians, they're afraid to speak their truth. You know, with this thing you guys have, be like everybody else. Don't say anything, shh, quiet, da-da-da-da. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about be an obedient robot and obey. That's not what I'm saying. Where you have to express your truth, you express your truth, and you stand up and you fight for your cause, if you have to. But it's not coming from anger. You understand? It's coming, you've already found peace within yourself. I'm not talking about appearance of being peaceful. Like what we see in Scandinavia with a lot of people, there's the appearance of being peaceful. Okay? Appearance of being obedient. Appearance to be like everybody else. Appearance of no, don't be aggressive, don't say anything because you're going to disturb the apple cart. That's an appearance. It looks like it, but inside there's anger. Inside there is resentment. Okay? You want to find a peace inside. You want to find the silence inside yourself. So then you have come to inner peace. You have come to the balance, to tranquility, to this place. You're still. Now, if you're going to go out there and cut heads, you're doing it from stillness. You're not doing it from your childhood damages. You're not projecting your anger, your objection. You're objecting a government, that's fine. You're objecting a society, a community, a school, or whatever it is. Your husband, your parents, your kids, fine. But you're not doing it from a place of projecting your own damaged parts on other people. That's it. There are two different things. First, we learn how to come to silence, how to find peace within ourselves. Once we have discovered this, then we can demand it from others and other places. But if you haven't come to inner peace within yourself, you don't have any rights to demand it from anyone else. And what I'm talking about is that having the appearance of being civilized, right? But the moment somebody comes and takes your parking spot, you found a parking spot, you're going to park there and somebody takes it, okay? And you're ready to kill. You go outside and you're ready to kill the person. Or the moment somebody gets in front of you in a line, you're waiting in a line for something, somebody cut in a line in front of you, and now you're just ready to kill them. Or you went to a restaurant, you ordered food, everybody got their dish, yours not coming, yours is late. And now all of a sudden, you're throwing a fit. And, you know, you got this appearance that you're doing yoga, meditation, oh, it's all God. But the minute your food is late, you want to just tear the whole restaurant apart. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. First, we find this place here, and we get established in it. And quite often when you do that, it's interesting because you don't really go out there and demand peace any longer because you don't really care in some ways. I'm not saying about you're passive, you don't have any compassion, you don't really care for others or humanity. I'm not saying that. There's, you know, it's because it's easy to misunderstand me and then say, oh, well, you said this, Zarathustra. But what I'm saying is, you find it within yourself. You find that here it's really quiet. And then you start seeing world's events, they don't have any effect on you. They're not disturbing you. They're not bothering you. It becomes a show. It becomes a circus. It's like you went to Cirque du Soleil. You bought your ticket, you went to Cirque du Soleil, you're watching a circus. And the world's events become like that. It becomes a circus. And you can see it through it. You kind of smile or laugh at it. Oh, whatever. And you see people around you, they're so involved in it and so like wrapped up and identified to it. You really believe it. It's real. There's millions of things screwed up about this world. Millions of things. From child pornography to human trafficking, you know, to slavery, to violating women, violating children. Millions of different things screwed up on this planet. And it's been like this ever since the ever since. If you think this dimension is going to become a utopia and everything's going to be peaches and cream, you're in a deep dream. That's not where you make the change. You make the change within yourself. You find the utopia within yourself. And then you will see that your reality changes. Then utopia appears to you on the other world. But first you find it within. Because that's where it really is. And that's where a person like Ramana Maharshi or Papaji or Robert Adams, that's where they are. They have found a place inside themselves. Like what very famous quote of Jesus Christ, you know, I'm not a Christian, I never read the Bible, I'm not a Jesus follower, but I've heard this, you know, about the kingdom of my Father. You know, it's talking about arriving to the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of his Father. Have you heard this sermon somewhere in your church? No?
Yeah.
Anybody? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have? Some of you? The kingdom of my Father, you know, arriving to kingdom of his Father. That's the kingdom of his Father. He's talking about this place. Coming to your inner peace. You have arrived to the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of the Father. It's here. And that only comes through a silent mind. Otherwise, this thing is going to be busy. What about Obama? What about the... But, you know, they're attacking the oil fields. But, you know, there's a new ISIS coming. And there's a new... but the CIA is doing this. And I'm so worried about what's going to happen to our children or Mother Earth. What's going to happen to Mother Earth, you guys?
It's a stone.
Huh?
It's a stone.
Well, it's a living entity.
Yeah.
You know, it's an intelligence. It's alive.
Yeah.
You know, planet Earth is not just a stone. It's a living entity. It's completely alive. And look at it from inside of it to outside. Volcano coming, rivers, water comes out of it. It's shaking. It's feeding billions of beings outside of, on the surface of it and under it. Millions and billions of beings are living off of it. And what is the age of planet Earth? How old is it? They say, what? 5 billion, 6 billion? Huh?
4.6 billion.
4.6 billion. Let's say, yeah, let's say 5 billion. Let's say 5 billion give and take, right? 5 billion, 4 billion. How long have human beings been around? 10 million years? 2 million years? For example? And how long have they been this intelligent? 100 years, 200 years, they have come to this kind of intelligence? And how long has it been that there's a concern about humans destroying planet Earth? No one was worried about destruction of planet Earth 100 years ago because there was no ozone issues, there was no atomic bomb, there was no radioactive leakage 100 years ago because they didn't have these things, right? In 1900, turn of century, they didn't have any of these things, right? So it's been 100 years that we're worried about human beings destroying the planet Earth, correct? So that the intelligence of a human being to destroy the planet Earth is around what? 100 years? 100 years of a human intelligence versus 4 billion years of planet Earth intelligence. Planet Earth has been around for 4 billion years, and this dingy human race it's been around for 1 million years, and now it wants to destroy planet Earth. Who is more intelligent, you guys? You do the math. And where are we being fed from? Who's feeding us? Planet Earth is feeding us, isn't it?
Yeah.
So don't you think if planet Earth wants to get rid of this cancer called human being, for example, it cannot
Yes.
get rid of it in 5 minutes?
Yes.
If planet Earth decides to shake itself, you know, you've seen like the horses, they want to shake all the flies off of itself, you know, or you know, some animal, or a dog swims in the water and comes out of the water and is shaking itself to get rid of the water, right? If planet Earth wants to get rid of human beings, all it wants to do is 10 minutes, 15 minutes of earthquake at level 10.
Yeah. Shaking.
Human race is finished, you guys. Goodbye. Fifteen minutes of level 10 of earthquake will finish the entire race. It's finished. Goodbye. There is nothing of it left. If it wants to change its temperature, if it wants its volcanoes to get erupted, if it wants its oceans to rise, that's an intelligence that's been around for 4 or 5 billion years. Are you telling me that planet Earth does not know how to protect itself? It doesn't have the intelligence of protecting itself? And it's vulnerable to this race called human race? It's vulnerable to them? No, it's hard for me to believe it. So you don't need to worry about, don't get your mind engaged into thoughts and worries and fears of protecting planet Earth. You know? You don't need to worry about planet Earth. Planet Earth is in good hands. It can take care of itself easily. So, you know, you broaden your view and you start seeing things from this other place, and you realize that, oh, wow, this is a lot of mind stuff. It's food. It's food for the mind, to get the mind activated. It's like you're not going to give your kids on a school day a big chocolate cake at 8 o'clock at night before they're supposed to sleep. Because you're going to just pump all this sugar in them, and they're going to be running all over the place and drive you crazy. You know? You try to avoid giving them sugar and caffeine before they go to sleep so they can sleep. And the same thing. These stories that you're hearing about I had people write to me in anxiety after last election. What's going to happen? I'm just so worried. What's going to happen, Zarathustra? And I just write back to them, sweetheart, nothing. Don't worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. You just don't go there. Just practice being quiet. Recognize that this is a one mind, what you're seeing right now in the world, it's a busy mind. You know, you're meeting a lot of people you meet, you know, mostly younger people, but a lot of people, even older people. A lot of people, you're talking to them, they're like, oh, yes, all right, yeah. Yeah. It's like, dude, can you just be here and be present with me for 5 minutes? It's the ADD, it's HDND, isn't it? It's the busy mind is just continuously, I need to look at my phone. I need to be everywhere but here. I hate being here, anywhere but here, anytime but this time, anything, anyone but this person I'm with. And it's always, the mind is chasing the next thing. It's just chasing, chasing, chasing. I'm missing something. This is what's going on in the planet right now. This electromagnetic wave thing that they're putting out. You practice silence. You become quiet. You don't pay attention to the noise. You don't pay attention to, oh, they killed 50 kids in the school down the street. You come back to your center. Come back to your center. No matter what happens. They shut down an airplane in Korea and they're shutting down. You come back to your center. Don't go out there and get involved. Come back to your center. Come back to silence. And then slowly, slowly, you're gonna find peace. You're gonna discover home. You're gonna discover this place, which is very quiet, your own home, and nothing is happening. It's very peaceful, and you're safe. All right, my dear ones, it's 8:30, and this boy is hungry. So I'm gonna go put something in my belly. I'm having a group healing event tomorrow. Oh, Cecilia, I have some good news for you.
Yeah.
I'm planning on having a fifth dimensional quantum healing training level 1 and 2 in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, good. That's good, thank you.
Yeah, I think at the almost end of February. So just wanted to put it out.
Okay, thank you.
We'll let you know. And I have 4 events at Conscious Life Expo. 4 events.
Oh, in February?
In
Also?
Conscious Life Expo.
Yes, but it's going to be in February also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you? And probably can get you a free pass to come to the expo. I'll get you a 2-day free pass or a 3-day free pass so you can come to the expo. And you don't have to pay to get in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So, anything anybody wants to share before I go? Good to see you. And we'll meet next Monday, 7 o'clock.
Monday.
Next
Monday.
Next Monday, because Tuesday I'm traveling. I'm going to Sweden. So, and I'm going into a new place. I kind of like to get there and find out my internet stuff. I don't want to get there and immediately I have to do it's just, if you guys can do next Monday, it's much easier for me. All right. Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.